Hey, how's it going, sports bettors? Matt Modi here with OddsJam, and in this video, I'm giving you the best NFL bets specifically for Christmas Eve. We have a lot of Saturday NFL games this week. Christmas Eve, we got a ton of games, some high-profile ones, some not so high-profile ones, but regardless, we have a ton of action specifically for Christmas Eve, so I'm going to give you some bets to lock in for Christmas Eve. And the tool that I'm using to find these profitable bets is obviously the OddsJam Positive Expected Value page. Using OddsJam means that you are finding an edge over the sportsbook you are placing the bet with. An unfortunate reality of sports betting is that sportsbooks have the edge over you. So if you are able to gain the edge back over them, which is what positive expected value betting is, then it's a good way to be profitable in the long run. Yeah, you're not going to win every single bet. You're not going to profit every single day, week, month, but over the course of time in the long run, you will be profitable. So let's get right into it. The first play that I'm going to lock in here is in the Saints versus Browns game. Give me the Saints first half spread plus 1.5. This is at plus 105 odds at PointsBet. And let's chat about it. So number one, like I mentioned, I found it on the positive EV page. So it is positive expected value. The reason why this is such a profitable play. So these no-vig odds you see here, this is where kind of everything comes from. It's very, very important to understand. These no-vig odds, I like to call them the OddsJam perfect line. You can also view them as the true line of what a market should truly be priced at. And the way it works is these numbers are pulled from the sharpest sports books in the world in terms of pricing odds. So OddsJam back-tested thousands and thousands of betting opportunities over a long period of time. So not just like, oh, let's see how the market was yesterday. No, they tracked it over a long period of time, making sure that the sample size itself was large enough and that the sample time frame was large enough as well. So they back tested all of that information and used that to determine what sportsbooks consistently do the best job at pricing odds, and then use those sportsbooks, remove the VIG, and that part's important because in order to get an accurate representation of what a sportsbook views of a market, you need to remove the VIG. So that's exactly what OddsJam does, and then uses that basically to set the market. So if you think about everything in a summarized view, these no VIG odds are what the sharpest sportsbooks in the world are pricing a market, giving a weighted average, giving heavier weight towards the sharper books, right? So the sharpest sportsbooks in the world say that, hey, this New Orleans Saints first half spread plus 1.5 should be priced closer to plus 102, plus 102.5, plus 103, somewhere in that range, right? PointsBet is giving this to us all the way up at plus 105. That right there is profitability. All in all, equates to a profit margin of about 1.15%, right? 1.16% to be exact. This can be viewed as your percent of positive expected value, can also be viewed as your expected profit margin. So if I were to bet $100 on this play, I could figure to profit $1.16. That's how it works. And that's the math behind everything. And it takes 4 seconds to just look at the page and say, oh, here are the odds that I'm betting. Here's the no-vig odds. Here's the percent. Cool. You also know, if you were on the positive EV page, you already know that the play is positive expected value, right? So the additional research that I recommend doing, and I don't mean research as in like, oh, go look into the injuries and go look into the matchup itself. What I mean is, if you click anywhere where it highlights blue, right, it pulls up what you see here. And what you see here is where every sportsbook prices this play at. Where they price the Saints side, which is what our bet is, and where they price the Brown side, which is obviously the opposite. And what you're doing by looking into these markets, you want to see where every sportsbook is pricing the play that we are betting compared to the actual odds that we are taking it at. So we are getting this at plus 105 at PointsBet. Where does every other book price this? Caesars down at minus 111. FanDuel has it at minus 110. Each way, basically calling this a 50-50. And Pinnacle slightly favors the Browns side, but they have the Saints at minus 104, the Browns at minus 110. So, yeah, they're favoring the Browns, but not by a ton. And they're not charging a lot of juice either. That's kind of what this number you see here, market width, is telling you. The lower the number equals more confidence in a line. So, all in all, this plus 105 is a pretty good bet, right? No book is giving this to you for even plus 100. The closest is Pinnacle at minus 104. And if over the course of time, which I know I say that a lot, but the goal obviously is to be consistently profitable. So you're going to have, like I said, a losing day, week, month. But if you give it a big enough sample size and kind of remove variance from the equation, then you will be profitable. And one way to be profitable and to almost guarantee you'll be profitable in the long run is by taking advantage of outlier betting opportunities such as this. And that's exactly what we're doing here. So this is going to be the first play for Saturday for Christmas Eve. The next one that we are looking at is in the Bengals versus Patriots game, and we are looking at the under 40.5 minus 107 at PointsBet. So the no big odds for this one price this play at around almost exactly minus 108, just below minus 108. Another smaller market width at 14 cents. And look at the rest of the markets. Caesars has it all the way down at minus 131, heavily favoring the under. DraftKings, same thing. The under's at minus 128, heavily favoring it. And then Pinnacle has the under at minus 114, heavily favoring the under as well. And then what you could do for totals in bigger spreads than just like a first half one, if you open the event page in a new tab, it pulls up where every sportsbook is pricing the main line of the total. And what I mean by that is, so we know based on looking at this screenshot here, we're not screenshot, but on my screen here, that like odds are going to be different between the sportsbooks, right? That also is true for where they price main lines in general. So not every single sportsbook is going to price this over under at 40.5. So if you view the event page in a new tab, what we can see is every other sport, actually it looks like every sportsbook in general, every single sportsbook prices this total at 40 or 39.5. So every sportsbook, aside from PointsBet, is either pricing this total a half point or a full point lower than what we are getting it at 40.5. And it looks like the majority of them have it at 39.5, like Caesars, DraftKings, Betfred, Bet Now, which is a new book, Bet Online, Bet Rivers has this at 39.5. And then it looks like FanDuel, Bookmaker, and Pinnacle. And those last two are very important. Bookmaker and Pinnacle, they price it at 40. And Bookmaker favors it going under at 40. So not only do they price it a half point lower, but they also think that the under is the more likely scenario here. So when you're betting on main lines such as this, there are three main sports books that you want to look for. And you want to make sure that you are getting an outlier to these three. Bet Online, check. They have this at 39.5. Bookmaker, check. As I mentioned, they have it at 40, and they favor it going under at 40. And then Pinnacle, check. They have it at 40 as well. So this minus 107 at PointsBet is a really, really good play. So this is going to be the second of my Christmas Eve betting picks for this video. And then the third and final one is the over 31.5 in Saints versus Browns. I am shocked that there is a total as low as 31.5. That has to be taking out some weird, crazy weather or the COVID game a couple years ago where the Browns or Broncos didn't have a starting quarterback. This has to be the lowest total in memory at 31.5. But we're taking the over. Pinnacle prices that at minus 121. Across the board, sportsbooks are pricing this over, heavily favoring it going over 31.5. Bet Rivers is the only one that's kind of close, still 7 cents higher. Pinnacle is 11 cents higher. And then we see DraftKings, Caesars, and PointsBet pricing it from 14 to 20 to 35 cents higher than what we are getting it at FanDuel. And same thing here. Let's open this event page in a new tab. Let's see where every other sportsbook is pricing it at. So we know that for the Patriots Bengals under, every sportsbook priced the total below 40.5, which we got it at. For this one, since we are taking an over, we want to see, does every sportsbook price it above 31.5? And I'm almost guaranteeing that the answer is yes. And look at that, it is. We see sportsbooks price it at 32, which looks to be Bet Rivers, and actually just Bet Rivers. We see sportsbooks price it at 32.5, which is BetMGM, PointsBet, Caesars, Betfred, Bet Now, Bet Online. Ding, ding, ding. That's important. This one's Bet Online. Bookmaker both at 32.5. That's important. As does Pinnacle at 32.5 as well. And then we see, looks like no other book has the main line at 33. So same thing here. We're getting it over 31.5. Every sports book has it at 32 or 32.5, with the majority of them at 32.5. So all in all, three really, really good plays for Christmas Eve. So you know what's better than drinking eggnog with the family on Christmas Eve is making money while drinking eggnog with the family on Christmas Eve. So I definitely recommend tailing all three of these bets. I recommend putting a full unit on all three of these. I think they're all really good, and that's going to be it. So if you guys are tailing it, comment and let me know. And that's all I got. So I appreciate everybody watching, and have a good one.